This is a good question from Johnny Dangerly. When Jay is the moderator, does he not wear a hoodie?
I believe it's technically host.
It's not like you keeping us from
Is this
debating.
Crossfire?
Yeah, right. No, Matthew. Guys, this is Jay. Guys.
No.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
But you're out of order.
Right. It's my turn.
Yes.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Friday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. Connor Rogers, Matthew Berry, Jay Croucher. Fellas, it's good to be back in the big chair.
In the
some like to
moderated
say.
chair.
Yes. A lot of pressure.
Not sure if Connor Rogers or Lester Holt.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you like the moderator seat?
Yeah, it's interesting. With Lawrence and Matthew yelling at each other, trading barbs.
Yeah, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, no, it definitely doesn't feel like a moderator role.
It's more of a peacekeeping role, if you will.
Yes.
And trying to, contain the animals, as it were.
I'm here for the regulars as well. I'd like to make that known.
Sure.
I try to be a man of the people since you despise them.
Of course.
You're a vessel for the people.
That's what it is.
It's a people vessel.
He's a vessel for something. That's for sure. I'll tell you who is going to be a vessel for birthday cake later today. It is our own producer, Steven's birthday.
Happy birthday, Steven.
Happy birthday, Steven. May the Jaguars continue on their winning ways. For you, Steven has a big poster of Jackson DeVille in his room.
Yeah.
He managed to get married despite that.
Yes.
But
a Blake Bortles jersey that he wears around the place.
He does.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
No,
he does.
Does wear it. He also does this strange thing where when it's his birthday, he walks around to everyone in the building telling them it's his birthday.
All right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Very strange. It's
Very
like,
odd.
It's my birthday.
Hi, it's my birthday.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought the big button.
37 years old. You stop doing that.
Exactly. I thought the big button that said "I'm 37 today" was a bit much.
With the balloons tied to his shirt.
Yeah, of course.
Very odd.
Very odd. But either way,
Happy
it's
birthday,
producer
Steven.
Steven's birthday, and we love you, brother, and we wish you well. And for your birthday, you get to watch us for an hour.
Yeah, make fun of you,
Yeah,
actually. Is
exactly.
exactly what you get to
Yeah.
do. And there's really not much
Lucky
you can
you.
do. Maybe turn off the mics. But the start-sit questions are already rolling in on the chat. We are going to get to those during What's on Tap. We're going to answer a ton of your start-sit questions. Denny Carter, Dr. Denny Carter, let's be fair here. Dr. Denny Carter, he will be back because it is a Friday. He's going to solve some of your frustrations.
Your flexual.
Yes,
Your
very
flexual
flexual frustrations. But
Lean into the bit, Connor. Lean into the bit.
Before we do any of that, let's jump right into it, Matthew. We need to talk about your Commanders last night on Thursday Night
Do we?
Football. Yes.
Who we talking about?
I see that like the Jayden Daniels jersey is almost buried
I know,
behind the blitz. Yes, very interesting. As we take a look at the top fantasy performances, boy, what a great night for both of you. Matthew, your Commanders lose. Jay, you had Tucker Kraft on your bench. Nicely done.
Yes, I texted the group chain, the League of Arseholes, the Arrested Development Job. I've made a huge mistake meme after I benched Tucker Kraft for Cooper Kupp. Now, here's the thing. Cooper Kupp hasn't played yet.
That's
he could
true.
score 24.5 points.
24.5 points, exactly, within the range of outcomes. We'll go through all of these. I just like the fact that Jayden Daniels, in what I think was his worst NFL start, like I thought that's the worst I've seen him play as a pro, still managed to get 19.7 fantasy points, gets a couple, by the way, touchdowns. There you go. There's the Jayden Daniels jersey.
Still on the
Tucked
wall.
in
Always
back
behind
there.
me. Always, it might be one rung down.
Still above Mahomes.
Yeah,
Interesting.
We get rid of Mahomes.
Yeah, exactly.
Mahomes is buried. Back
By the
there.
way, and we randomly have two Kelseys. We randomly have two Kelseys, I noticed. So, so anyway, always, we're open to other jerseys if people want to send in jerseys.
There's a few that can come off the ball. I think we can get rid of Brian Robinson Jr.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Ramondre
Take
Stevenson.
Micah Parsons. Good call, Jay, on the half sack last night. Actually ended up having a full sack. So.
Did he get adjusted?
Yeah, I saw it get adjusted.
I like that.
So, either way, you were good anyway. Either way, just to be clear.
Your best bet, Micah Parsons over a quarter of a sack. That cashed. By the way, shout out to my guy, plus money, Lawrence Jackson. His bet, Deebo Samuel, 6+ receptions at plus money. I think it was like plus 138. That cashed as well. My Deebo Samuel over 4.5 rushing yards did not, because he didn't get a rushing attempt.
But he was returning kicks.
I
quite well.
Had he was one of the few Commanders that did play well. I think had they given him a rushing attempt, it would have cashed, but he did not, and so 2 out of 3. So anyway, congrats to Jay and Lawrence. apologies to everyone. By the way, Jay also mentioned, if you saw on the air, he basically said, I will take the under. That also cashed, even though that wasn't your official bet. But you did mention that you liked the under last night.
Yeah. And somehow sweating
40,
it out to the end, which I didn't feel like I should have been. That felt like a very defensive struggle. It felt like a defensive struggle where the Packers were blowing them out the whole time. And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, how is this a one-score game in the fourth quarter? But the Commanders, they hung around, but just didn't all click. And I think the main takeaway is just that if you're going up against the Packers defense, like you're in big trouble.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're starting your obvious studs against the Packers moving forward. But any of the borderline guys, like last night, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, like he's a borderline guy. No, you don't start them. And we'll get into the Commanders soon, but just the Packers defense was as advertised. I'm not worried about the Commanders, honestly. Like, short week on the road against what is the or one of the best defenses in the NFL. I mean, they're loaded top to bottom. The Packers, the crazy thing about that game is that I thought the Packers, Jay and I were talking about this before the show, I thought the Packers were the better team by far last night. Yeah. Like, it wasn't close.
It was just like week 1 against the Lions.
Yes,
it was a sizable gap.
They dominate against my Commanders, and yet, if Matt Gay mixed two field goals, it's a one-score game.
The spread is covered, right?
Yeah, no, it was 3. It was.
I saw 3.5 was the open. It did go down to 3.
Went down to 3 at close, but either way, the fact is like it had been a one-score game. And, maybe they don't have to try the onside kick. Maybe they kick it away and they try to play some defense, see if they get it back and get a miracle. It just, it was closer than it should have been given how dominant I thought Green Bay was and how, candidly, mediocre I thought Washington was. They just didn't play well.
Two things.
They got dominated on both sides of the ball.
Two things that are pretty scary. One, the Packers defense has done this to the Lions and the Commanders, who are arguably the two best offenses in the NFC last year. It's like, what's it going to look like when they play Connor's Cleveland Browns next week?
Yeah, Joe Flacco. Good Lord.
I love the Browns.
Good luck, Joe.
I've always.
And then secondly, as I was reminded, Micah Parsons hasn't even entered his prime yet.
No.
He's 26 years old.
He's not even playing his full
not
snap
full
count.
snaps, right.
Look, what's going to happen when Parsons is 27, 20, and he's absolute prime and playing full snaps?
That might be a good trade.
This man's an absolute freak. It's completely ridiculous. He's eviscerating triple teams last night. I mean, Myles Garrett was amazing in week 1 as well, but I think those two guys right now stand
But,
alone.
I mean, the Commanders don't have an amazing offensive line, but it's also not horrific. No. And, Laramie, according to PFF, Laramie Tunsil allowed 2 pressures.
Right.
Josh Connerly, he allowed 5.
Tough spot for a rookie.
Yes, very tough spot for a rookie, but still. I mean, anyway, he was constantly under pressure, Jayden Daniels. And it's amazing that he only had 17 rushing yards because I felt like he was running for his life every single play. But he was that far back that it took that much to get to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, we've missed the headline, though. The story out of last night, Matthew, it's the Tuck Wagon.
Yeah.
Tucker Kraft.
Before we get there, I do want to hear from the Packers after this win, and then we'll talk about Tucker Kraft, who dominated last night.
The Tuckler.
Tuck Wagon.
I like the Tuck Wagon.
It's fine. The Tuckler.
Couldn't have started the season off on a better note, so it's one thing that we just got to keep building on, but it feels great right now.
Jordan, how was Tucker Kraft able to be so impactful in this game?
Man, Tuck, I'm expecting big things from Tuck this year, but it's just, it's one of those things that's who Tuck is every day. He comes in and puts that work in, and, in practice every day he's making those big-time plays, and he's very consistent right now.
Well, hopefully I can keep stacking games like that, but it's the first time I've ever gotten over 100 yards, including in college. So, I'm feeling it now. You just get tackled that many more times.
Perfect tight end personality.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have full faith that this will continue on, boys.
Ice Road Tucker is the headline there. Jay, if you had started him, and you didn't, but if you had started him, you could change your team name to Tuck You.
No, I like the chubby leather daddies. But yeah, I can put that under consideration. By the way, as I've told everyone in the league, my other tight end, and the reason Tucker Kraft wasn't starting in tight end is Brock Bowers. He's on the trade block, my friend. This is a Tuck Wagon.
Rightfully so. I am surprised, by the way. Here's the chubby leather daddy's box score there.
Man, it never gets old.
Yeah.
And then you have a professional headshot as the picture. I'm a little confused.
I got to change that.
A little confused by that.
Yeah, 24.4. I should have started him over Cup. I don't know why I didn't. I like Cooper Kupp. I had a feel. Yeah, I don't know. That was a mistake. If I could go back and change it, I would, but I can't. So now the good thing is that I'm playing the glorified bye, which is our soon-to-be on the air with us, Denny Carter.
Yeah, well, we'll get to this.
pie.
We'll get to this in the next segment. We'll get to this in a little bit when we talk about injuries. But I'm actually surprised you didn't start Tucker Kraft just because.
Too.
No, I mean, but all jokes aside, because Brock Bowers missed practice yesterday. Like I would have thought, like, let me lock in. Just in terms of roster construction, I would have said I'm definitely starting Tucker Kraft on Thursday night to get my tight end. And then if Bowers is going, then okay, then I can start him over Cooper Kupp. Yeah. But if he doesn't go, then I'm fine with Kupp as in my flex.
Extremely logical.
Yeah.
I didn't think about it.
To be fair, you don't talk about fantasy football every day. Right?
I was just kind of operating under the assumption that Brock Bowers is going to play because that has been the indicator. I know it's not 100%.
Right.
But, yeah.
He's said that the challenge is it's a Monday night game. And so we may not get clarity until Monday night. Yeah. Now, it is a doubleheader on Monday night, so you'll at least have 2 games to sort of pivot to. And
it's probably need a Michael Mayer.
It's worth picking up Michael Mayer, honestly.
Option.
No, seriously, because right, exactly. Jacob's got a question here. He says, this offseason, I was genuinely surprised to see a lack of hype/talk about Tucker Kraft. People always preach breakout candidates. He's the definition of it. Who else can you trust in that wide receiver room? I will push back on that, Jacob, just to say, like, this guy. Honestly, Tucker Kraft was a sleeper for Jay Croucher, the Tuckler, as he's known now in these parts. And honestly, I like to give you crap all the time, Jay, and I love to point your flaws out constantly. But I have to give you some love for Jordan Love, because he was not somebody that a lot of people were talking about in this preseason, and he was somebody that you were on the bandwagon from moment one of this preseason saying, I think he will be healthy this year, and if he's healthy, this is a guy that can be an elite fantasy quarterback.
Yeah, I think when a guy underperforms expectations, the first thing to ask is, was he hurt? Was he playing hurt? Like, Dalton Kincaid had a bad year last year. Was he playing hurt? Yes, he had a knee problem the whole season. Last year, Jordan Love, was he hurt? Yeah, he's dealing with an MCL after week 1, and then he hurt his groin, and then he hurt his elbow. In the stretches where he was healthy, he was fine last year. And the year before, in the second half of the season, he was magnificent. So Jordan Love, the thing that you love about him, no pun, is that he just chucks it down the field, Connor. He gives his guys a chance. He left a lot of plays on the table last night. He had the bomb to Matthew Golden.
That's the big one.
Which probably could have connected on. And then he also had the 40-yard touchdown pass to Jayden Reed, where Reed unfortunately breaks his collarbone on that play. But that gets called back. That was a great play. Jordan Love, I think as many question marks as there are about the weapons, like they've got a lot of lottery tickets who can hit, and then 2, they got Tucker Kraft, the Tuckwagon Tuckler, who looks like a beast, and then 3, he's got Matt LaFleur, who's one of the best offensive minds in the game. So Jordan Love, I think, is going to be a top 10 quarterback in fantasy this year.
I would agree with that. 31 pass attempts, most of his games since week 9 of last year. They're letting him kind of air it out. And to your point about throwing deep, 9 different passes with an average depth of target of 15 or more air yards. He leads all quarterbacks in average depth of target so far this year. Again, we're just 1 game into week 2, but still, like, that's a stat that just tells you when you're watching those games, like, they're not scared to chuck it deep, and they've got a lot of guys that can fly down there, and they're not scared to throw it.
Yep. Other thing on Tuck Daddy, PJ Tucker, I'm going to make a declaration now that in terms of fantasy tight ends, points per game, the top 5, it's done. It's just locked in. It's 5 guys: Bowers, McBride, Kittle when he gets back, Tyler Warren, and Tucker Kraft. I think those are the 5 guys, and there's no one else that I really have interest in taking over those 5. I think Tucker Kraft is real. We saw it last year.
I agree with you
Healthier
on that.
Jordan Love. I think Tyler Warren's maybe the one who we'll see with the users, but I've got a lot of confidence in his talents and his ability to be consistent. But I think Tucker Kraft, I don't see any reason why he should not be a top 5 tight end.
I think there's a chance that Hawkinson could sneak in there if McCarthy gets more. But that's what I'm saying. Like, I do think McCarthy might actually pepper him a little bit more. That was kind of the report in the training camp, was that Hawkinson was going to get a ton of looks from McCarthy in training camp. So we'll see. But I agree with the take that wherever you got, how about this? Tuckler the Tuck Wagon. Yes.
Go with Tuckwagon is fine.
No, Tuckler the Tuck Wagon, which I think it's no. Let's.
We don't need to try repaint the Mona Lisa. Tuckwagon works perfectly fine. It's funny because he looks like a wagon as well when he's running. That's why it works. It doesn't look like a Tuckler. It doesn't make any sense.
I know, but that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point, is just to make it the dumbest nickname of all time. At any rate, but wherever you got Tucker Kraft in drafts this year, you are earning a profit. There's no question about that. 26% target share, and that's a target share, Connor, that I think only goes up with the injury to Jayden Reed. If you remember the question from Jacob a couple of minutes ago on YouTube, he's asking, what do we do with this Packers wide receivers? Jayden Reed, as Jay mentions, leaves with that broken collarbone here. I think my take on it is that you never want anyone to get injured, but I do think this provides some clarity. I think it's going to be Romeo Doubs, Matthew Golden, and then Dontavian Wicks. And I think the big winner is a relative word, but I think the person whose fantasy value takes the biggest uptick here is Dontavian Wicks as well. 16% target share, 54% route participation. He's available in 99% of leagues, and I just feel like he's somebody that, when he has gotten an opportunity, has produced. The challenge is he just hasn't been able to get a consistent opportunity. I think Romeo Doubs he sort of is what he is at this point. And I got a question, like I posted my column. So, by the way, new column out, 10 things you need to know before week 2. And one guy on my Twitter was just like, hey, great call on Matthew Golden. And I'm like,
there's always one.
Yeah, it's always one. Right. I'm just, it's not relevant to the column. But all right, fair enough. But I understand the frustration because it was a bad day in the box score for Matthew Golden. But to your point, like, he gets underthrown on that touchdown. Like, that's like a 40, 35, 40
you probably need
touchdown.
the big play.
Yeah, but like, I think the narrative is entirely different if Jordan Love hits him in stride.
Yeah.
They missed on another big play as well. If somebody in your league gets frustrated and drops him this week, or you can buy low, I'm in on Matthew Golden's talent, Connor.
He's a first-round pick for a team that needed a true number 1 wide receiver. I think would be getting carried away. I didn't project Matthew Golden that way, but in theory, he should be this team's number 1 wide receiver. But it goes back to what we said over the summer. We had this combo multiple times. How can you trust anyone in Green Bay's pass catcher room? And what we said about Tucker Kraft was, he's always on the field.
That's right.
With all the other wide receivers, as you look at the target share and the route participation, you don't get that guarantee, and I think that's why you were very bullish on Kraft, Jay. It's like, we know he's a great blocker, and that puts him on the field all the time, and now you're kind of seeing that pay off.
Yeah, I think the other thing with Golden, too, is that he's like 5 inches away from being 100 yards and a touchdown, and then everyone's like, oh, Matthew Golden, like offensive rookie of the year. Now, because he's the 5 inches go the other way, it's like, oh, Matthew Golden, what does he actually do? With Dontavian Wicks, who I think coming into last year when we were having the same discussion about the Packers pass catchers, I think the high upside, really intriguing guy was Wicks, because he just seemed to have a lot of variance. And Connor, they were putting him, so his whole thing is, right, that he drops passes, he can't catch. They're putting him on the onside kick team last night because of his sure hands, and he was able to come down with it. So do you think there's room for Wicks to emerge as the number 1?
There is, but the problem is, once again, I don't think this is where we look back in like the end of October and we're like, this was the number 1 wide receiver for the Packers. I just think it revolves every single week.
Probably just 3 number 3 guys.
He'll probably have a week or 2, and then we have to have the combo again. But I think this is who they are, and that's why, once again. But I agree with you, Matthew. If somebody dropped Golden, that is a wild overreaction for a first-round wide receiver in a good offense.
I just think people get impatient, and like, it's not like they see the, it's like 0 point, whatever he got.
This guy does nothing.
Right, exactly. It's been two quiet weeks for Matthew Golden in a crowded wide receiver room. But again, because of the injury to Reed, it's suddenly a little bit more narrow.
On the other side of the ball, what has you the most worried about the Commanders' offense out of this game?
Nothing.
Like, is there one singular player that you bumped down?
No, I mean, it's a road game on a short week against probably the best defense in the NFL. Like, they had a bad day at the office, and credit to the Packers defense because they forced that bad day at the office. Like, again, Jayden Daniels under pressure. Like, if you want to say there's something I'm worried about, honestly, it's can the offensive line hold up against truly elite defensive lines? But, like, he got time against the Giants in week 1. Honestly, Thursday. Listen, I hate Thursday games because of like the inconsistent production and teams having thing and injuries and that kind of stuff. On the other hand, I'd be so bored on Thursday nights. I mean, like the minute the season's over and I'm sitting there on a Thursday night, like
Yankees, Tigers.
Right, exactly. I'm like, come on, oh God, what I wouldn't do for like Colts Jaguars right now. So
it's always AFC South. That's the reference point.
Really, they earned it. They earned it.
Yeah,
it's cliche for a reason.
Titans, Jaguars. Yeah, exactly. But so no, I mean, you guys tell me. Maybe I'm looking through it through burgundy-colored glasses, but I'm not. I'm not worried about it. For our purposes, for fantasy football purposes, Jayden Daniels had what I thought was the worst game I've seen him. Like he didn't run very much. Only 9% of his fantasy points came from running. He was pressured on 49% of his dropbacks. Like literally every other dropback, he was pressured, and yet he still winds up with 19.7 fantasy points. He throws the 2 late touchdowns, 200 yards, and didn't even have much rushing. So you're just like, if that's the worst it gets, 19 points. Like from our purposes, I don't think that Terry McLaurin is up to speed yet. I think week 3. Deebo Samuel, if you started Deebo, you feel good about that. Zach Ertz is going to be a thing. Like at some again, it's no,
15 years in a row.
It's like you with Derrick Henry. People want to just write him off year and year and year and year, but yet it just
misrepresentation.
No, it's just like you're like he's too old. I'm done with him. Bring on Keaton Mitchell. Just like you're like I'm done with Zach Ertz. Bring on Ben Sinnott. But the truth of the matter is that Zach Ertz keeps getting down. He has now scored in 7 of his last 8 games dating back to last year. Yeah. He's a touchdown machine. Yeah. He's unstoppable. The Zackler.
Yeah, trust Matthew Berry the morning after a 2-score Commanders loss to compare Zach Ertz to Derrick Henry. Yeah, unbelievable.
He's inevitable. He's ageless, Connor.
It's starting to feel that way. I was skeptical 3 years ago, and here I am.
Not of anyone else. Yeah, the thing is with the Commanders, I say that the downside is that I thought coming into this game, there's a good chance that the Commanders are kind of in the vein of the Bills offense, the Ravens offense, the Lions from last year, where it's like kind of their defense agnostic is just too good. Like Jayden is too good, the offense is too good that you can't really stop them. Well, they got stopped. They got stopped a lot last night. Like the Packers defense owned that game. From a fantasy perspective, though, it does show just what Daniels' flaw is because, that went as badly as possible, and he still almost put up 20 points.
And this is the worst matchup for them when you think of all the variables. The Packers play the most zone in the NFL. Yep. You had to deal with Micah Parsons when you're starting a rookie right tackle, and their linebackers are some of the fastest in the NFL that take away his scrambling. And you still got 20 points.
Right. On a short week, on the road against a defensive coordinator who comes from college and has seen a lot of the RPO, a lot of the stuff that Cliff does. It's like, it's probably more used to kind of the bells and whistles and the stuff that Washington does that most NFL defenses are not used to as well. Since week 11 of last season, Jay Croucher, Zach Ertz is the 6th best tight end in fantasy football. Since week 11 of last year, the top 6 fantasy tight end. By the way, he's available in leagues too. I mean, he's out there. He's not 100% rostered. I think Terry McLaurin had a 91% route participation, 19% target share. He'll get there. Again, this defense was bad. They play the Raiders next week. If they flop against the Raiders, exactly. It's Raiders, Falcons, Chargers, Bears. So I think it's, that's a solid schedule upcoming right here as you see. Then they're at the Cowboys. That's not a defense that scares you. At the Chiefs. We'll see what happens, but they didn't look that imposing in week 1. Seahawks will be tough in week number 9. Lions, but then you get to the Dolphins. Broncos in week 13 you don't love, but fantasy playoffs. At Giants, home to the Eagles, home to the Cowboys. So 2 out of the 3 defenses that you play in the fantasy playoffs, I think, are pretty good.
Yeah, they'll be okay.
They'll be just fine. I'm not worried about it. Let's talk about the last thing I think we need to talk about at this game is the running backs and what appears to be just a brutal injury for Austin Ekeler, friend of the podcast. He's been on our show many, many times. He is as good an ambassador for fantasy football as any NFL player ever. And so he's getting an MRI today, but they fear an Achilles tear. I don't know if it's officially come out, but it looks like that's what it's going to be.
Right. It's sad that we as fans now know what that looks like live, and it looked like too many times. We've seen an Achilles tear, Austin Ekeler. We'll see if we get confirmation there. We talked about Jayden Reed with the broken collarbone, but Austin Ekeler drinks for free today.
He does indeed. Absolutely. Yes, Jess. 100%. Jess Dabb says Austin Ekeler deserves a drink free. If not, we riot.
Well, no
1,000%. Listen, it's our producer Steven's birthday, and even we said, sorry, Steven. Screw you. Ekeler drinks free. Honestly, Ekeler drinks free every single day, but especially today, our hearts go out to Austin and his wife and his many fans, including all of us here at the show and his friends. Like he's been a great advocate and friend of the fantasy football community for so many years. So, anyway, we wish you a speedy recovery, Austin. We look forward to seeing you back on the field as soon as possible.
Zach Cohen asked, after that unfortunate Ekeler injury, is it officially Bill CM season?
I don't think so.
You think they'll just bump up Rodriguez?
And Jeremy McNichols. Yeah. And Jeremy McNichols. I think he is going to be the head of the committee. I do think that there will be more opportunity for Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. But I do think that, especially on a defense like the Packers, now, Raiders are one thing, but like on the Packers, like I understand why they didn't want to play him as much as, because it's like you got Micah Parsons. Like you need a pro back there that can handle pass protection, that can pick up blitzes, that is a veteran. And
caught checkdowns.
Right, exactly. Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, as much as we all like Bill, he's still a late day 3 pick that didn't really play college football last year. There's still some experience that needs to happen here. So I do think he's the lead of a committee, but I don't think all of a sudden, now we're looking at 20 touches a game for Drew. It may get there, but they like McNichols. You saw him out on the field, and Rodriguez will be bumped up. They obviously like him. So I think he'll be the lead of a three-headed committee. I think he's basically, he's going to be a high-end flex moving forward.
Let's take a look at the Week 2 injuries that we're tracking. Brock Purdy with more notably the toe injury, but he also has the shoulder. We'll get to Brock Purdy and the Niners quarterback situation in a second because Mac Jones is going to start for them this weekend. Juwan Jennings did not practice on Thursday with the shoulder injury. Drake London and Darnell Mooney trying to get ready for Sunday Night Football, both with shoulder injuries. Xavier Worthy.
And that's the point. That's the Sunday night game. So just make sure you have a pivot. We'll go through all these injuries Sunday morning on Fantasy Football pregame, but for the Sunday night games or the Monday night game, as you see Brock Bowers there, Connor, make sure you have a pivot.
Yeah, you better have a plan. Xavier Worthy returned in a limited capacity, though I'd be careful with expectations on that one. Jalen Waddle, good news is it sounds like he's going to play. Christian Kirk still dealing with the hamstring. Chris Godwin did practice in limited capacity on Thursday. I think it's going to be a couple weeks.
Yeah.
With how Egbuka is playing, why would you fast-track Chris Godwin?
Yeah.
No.
The one thing there is that with all these timeline stuff, I just think Chris Godwin and Wirfs are going to be back by week 4, because otherwise why would
you IR them?
I just don't get that. That has never made sense to me at all. No one has ever explained it. Like, aiming for week 6, and why is he on IR?
Use the IR.
That doesn't make any logical sense.
1,000%. I do think it's a good sign that he's already back at practice and that we're going to see him sooner rather than later, but whether that's week 3, week 4, it's certainly not going to be week 5 or 6, which is what people were thinking at the beginning of the year.
So Mac Jones, guys, slated to start week 2 against the Saints. This
Mac Daddy.
Brock Purdy injury is, expected to be at least a couple of weeks here. I guess it's, ideally, though, it's not the worst landing spot matchup-wise, Matthew, to trust Mac. It's just a matter of what this offense is willing to do with him compared to Purdy.
I can't imagine starting Mac Jones unless you are in a deep super flex or 2-quarterback league. But I will say, on the road to New Orleans, I think he'll be okay. He's my QB 23 this week. A couple things about Mac Jones. Number one is that Kyle Shanahan wanted to draft him. It was between Trey Lance and Mac Jones that year for the 49ers. Yeah. They ultimately went with Trey Lance. But Mac Jones is a former first-round pick. He is somebody that has played, that has had multiple starts in the NFL. And he is someone, most importantly, for our purposes. I don't know that you're starting him again unless you're in a deep 2-quarterback league. But for our purposes, he's good enough to get the ball to the people we care about. Brian Thomas Jr. had monster games down the stretch last year with Mac Jones under center.
Without a doubt, Brian Thomas Jr. was better with Mac Jones than he was with Trevor Lawrence, as you see the Mac attack when he obviously played last year, those weeks 10 through 18 last season with the Jaguars. And we got to hear from his offensive coordinator, Clay Kubiak, on Mac's readiness to start.
How many Kubiaks are there?
There's quite a few coaching offenses in the NFL. Here's Clay.
Wow. Yeah, Mac's been really impressive since he walked in the door. Just the way he's kind of first been open to the coaching and open to learning what we do here and the way we coach quarterbacks, bought in from day one. And you've seen the growth. You saw it in OTAs and then in camp. He had a great camp. And if we need him to play, he's going to be ready. And he's done everything we want him to do. And if Mac gets an opportunity at some point, then I'm excited to watch him play. I do see growth from OTAs to training camp to now. I mean, you saw a guy who was learning in OTAs, and then a guy who was more confident in camp, and a guy who's fully confident right now. So, his sort of trajectory has been great.
It's like a Kyle Shanahan variant.
Yeah.
Clay Kubiak.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like this.
Kind of got the. You want out, don't you?
I don't want out.
What's the plural of Kubiak? Kubiai?
Kubiai?
Kubiai.
Kubai?
Kubai?
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know if that's right.
Kubai? I think it might be. I think it is.
We'll roll with it.
Kobayashi? Yeah.
There you go. Also another one. But yeah, anyway, so again, like I said, he's a QB3 for me. I'm at QB 23, but I think Ricky Pearsall should be in for a huge workload here with obviously Kittle banged up. Kittle is not going to play. Juwan Jennings, we don't know yet, but he may be limited even if he does get out there. So I expect this to be a lot of Chris McCaffrey and a lot of Ricky Pearsall against your New Orleans Saints.
Got a question from daily listener, viewer, Johnny Dangerly. With Mac Jones, it's going to be the CMC dump-off show.
Probably.
You might be right.
Yeah.
It was the CMC dump-off show with Brock Purdy.
Right, so why would it change?
Yeah.
And Johnny Dangerly, I think I take that point, and I think you're right. I'm going to recommend people start Christian McCaffrey. I agree with that. Yes.
That's why you get paid the big bucks. Yep.
There you go.
I might listen to that.
God bless.
If I had him on a single team.
One thing that cannot go unsaid. You guys are talking about this as a soft landing spot. I don't think you watched my New Orleans Saints last week. My plucky New Orleans Saints,
they are a
who
little
gave
plucky.
the Arizona Cardinals a real fight for their money. Juwan Johnson, your man, brings in the pass with 5 seconds left.
I'm
that
with
game's
you.
going to overtime, or they're going for 2 to win.
Cardinals' offensive line might be one of the worst in the league.
Well, here's the thing. Niners' offensive line might not be great
It's
either.
in shambles.
Trent Williams gave up 6 pressures against Seattle. He gave up 17 all of last year.
Right.
He did not look good
didn't look
at
right.
all. No. The whole offense, Colton McKivit's not good. It's not the unit that it was with Jimmy G back in like the first Super Bowl run. Like this is a different outfit.
I agree. West Coast team traveling east-ish for a 1 o'clock game.
Mac Jones hasn't like practiced with these. The guys that Mac Jones is practicing with in training camp, they've all been like cut. Like he's playing with the second stringers. He haven't got the rapport.
Are you
So
taking
we'll
the
see.
Saints or just you
Saints
think they
plus
win?
3. Saints plus
what do you
3.
think
I'm
of
taking them to cover.
What do you think of the 40.5 point total in that?
It's a little high. Are they going to get there?
No. I was thinking I like the under in that game.
I think, look, Spencer Rattler, who I think was competent last week, wasn't amazing. Certainly wasn't amazing. Niners defense looked much better than I thought it was
Robert
going
Sala
to.
has them rolling again.
So I think that, I think that's going to be
There goes the pen. We'll get it
I
in the
just dropped
break.
my pen.
Yeah,
I just
it's
dropped
okay.
my
Feels
You won't
like
need
20 to 17. Probably
Okay.
Probably Niners win, but
I mean,
Saints push.
Yeah,
our last bit of news
cover
here, guys.
first, win later. Yeah,
Of course, not injury related. Quinshon Judkins practiced in full
Yeah.
on Thursday. I'm telling you right now, the Browns are going to do everything they can, Matthew, to get him ready to be their RB1 workhorse guy, ready to roll, at least by October, I think.
Yeah, I think so. But I can't imagine starting him, even if they say he's going to be active and they have a package for him. I don't want to start him against Baltimore. Again, they're 11.5-point underdogs, the Browns are. Dylan Sampson is the one that you would expect. I could also see, given it's weird that, Jerome Ford played more snaps, ultimately. Sampson had the production.
You
but
just wouldn't know he was out there.
Yeah, I know, right? I mean, Dylan Sampson had a 19% target share. No running back was targeted on more of his routes than Dylan Sampson was.
Look at that shot.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Ankles.
Nice. Scorsese. Let's go.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, that's right.
I thought that ran its
my
course
pen, Matthew.
when I was off.
Thank you.
I think one thing with Quinshon Judkins is that I think everyone's kind of operating with the assumption that the Browns were going to be, it's a rebuilding year. It's going to be like Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders by week 3, week 4. Myles Garrett might be too good for you to do that as a team. Like, I think this team is going to be going all out to win games in the first half of the season. They looked exceedingly competent, and they should have beaten the Bengals. They should have beaten Joe Burrow in week 1. So I think this is going to be a competitive team that is making every decision to win games early in the season.
We say it all the time. Kevin Stefanski, who won Coach of the Year twice.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that.
He's so good and gets the least amount of credit because he's in a situation of turmoil at all times. That's not created by him.
All times.
So
yeah, I think he's a great coach. I think he's a great coach. So anyway.
It's time to get some answers, though, to our real problems.
Yes.
Our flexual frustrations.
Everyone has flexual frustrations.
Let's bring on
You can see
a
it
doctor.
from the regulars. You can see from the regulars how flexually frustrated they are.
With the lights on, it's a little scary. Can you tell me, in a matchup against Washington, what are you prescribing with Wan'Dale Robinson?
Yeah. Okay, so the urge to play Wan'Dale Robinson in the flex, even in PPR formats, it's wrong and sickly. I honestly, it's a perversion, frankly.
Not surprised.
I don't think it's right. Look, this guy was 10th in receptions last year, 45th in receiving yards. Guys, he had more receptions than Brian Thomas last year and was totally useless even in PPR formats. So you should actually feel some shame around this.
Flexual frustrations. We bring on Dr. Denny Carter. Denny, look at that shirt. Must be a telehealth day, work from home day for the doctor.
Rogers.
That's right. Look, I actually broke into Connor Rogers' closet and I got this, and it fits well because I'm built like Connor. And no one talks about it, but we're the same build.
People do forget that, and that's only because of the supplements you have prescribed me, Denny. Let's get to what matters the most here. Listen, David Montgomery in a shared relationship here in the Lions' backfield, but looks like things aren't really coming out on top for him. What do you got for us with David Montgomery? Can I put him in the flex? I'm flexually frustrated, Denny. Had enough of this.
There you go.
Look, Connor, yes. And look, I have David Montgomery on some teams, so I get it. You got a little too excited about playing Montgomery in week 1 against the Packers, and it was kind of over before it started, right? And that happens. It's okay. It's okay. There's no shame. We're going to talk a lot about shame in this segment. No shame in that. I think he still should be in your flex this week. They have a really good matchup against a suspect Bears rushing defense, and the Lions were trying to be run heavy before they had to drop back and pass it, facing a multiple score deficit against the Packers. So stick with it. Just sometimes things are over before they begin. It's okay.
Yeah, we look at the Sonic and Knuckles duo.
Great nickname.
Not a lot of oomph from Sonic and Knuckles in week 1. Denny, first of all, like the two buttons undone look very becoming. Second of all, you talked about perversion last week. What the Tennessee Titans did on offense in Denver is illegal in 50 states of America. It was an absolute disgrace. What they served up and the help that they tried to give Cam Ward, and a big part of that, shut down by Patrick Surtain, was the Riddler, Calvin Ridley. What can you prescribe for us and for Calvin and for everything around him?
Look, I just want to remind folks that, your past can play a huge role in your present flexual experiences, okay? And you really shouldn't get bogged down in that. You have to stop thinking about it. The past is not the present. And Calvin Ridley had 8 targets last week. He led the team easily. It's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. Just stop thinking about your past failures when it comes to the Riddler. He'll be okay. You'll be okay.
You think he'll get up for the game?
I think he'll very much get up for the game. Maybe more so than ever before. And it could be impressive, honestly.
That's fantastic. I think we all look forward to it. Dr. Carter, we got an email in from a viewer named Pete. Pete writes, Dear Matthew, my girlfriend wants me to try Boutte this weekend. I've seen and heard good things about Boutte, but I'm nervous. So, Dr. Carter, how experimental should I be this week with Boutte? That's Kayshon Boutte, of course.
That's right.
Yeah.
Look, I know many of you out there in the listening audience and the viewing audience are Boutte curious after, last week's performance from Kayshon Boutte, where he caught 6 of 8 targets for 103 yards against the Raiders. There are folks out there who I think are becoming fixated with Boutte.
Yeah.
Natural.
Prefer it.
It's natural. It happens, and that's cool. You're not weird, is what I'm saying. He was targeted on 20% of his routes last week. He's kind of the wide receiver 1 for the Patriots, weirdly, right now, while Stefon Diggs gets, back up to a full route participation rate. So I think that you can actually try to, plug in the Boutte this week into your flex.
Just out of curiosity, just hearing you, if a patient wanted to be really experimental, would you consider trying Diggs with Boutte?
That's too experimental for me. I actually think that we,
just one or the other. Pick one or the other.
You got to pick. I mean, if you're going to commit to Boutte, you got to commit to Boutte. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Understood.
Right.
Well, the good news is, guys, if you have any more of these flexual frustrations,
we're here to help.
Denny has a live Q&A at 1 p.m. that you should tune into on the Rotoworld Football Show. Dr. Denny, thank you. Good luck with your telehealth visits from home today.
Yes.
And we'll see you next Friday.
Stick around on YouTube and ask Denny, Dr. Carter, all your flexual frustration questions.
Great question.
Live
from
at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, great question from Pete.
We're taking our first break. When we're back, the questions continue. We have the answers. What's on tap is right after this. Sunday night, J.J. McCarthy makes his SNF debut at home as the Vikings host Michael Penix Jr. and the Falcons Sunday, 7 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. What's on Tap is brought to you by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Sundays are easy to enjoy when they are full of football and the fridge is filled with beer. And we're going to make it even easier for you by taking some of your best questions. This one from Christian, Dylan Sampson, Cedric Tillman, or Kayshon Boutte. Who should I choose for my last flex?
Yeah, listen, I mean, again, no issue if you want to get weird with Boutte. And Dylan Sampson's we've talked about. Listen, he was targeted on 53% of his routes in week 1. He led all running backs in week 1. Had a 19% target share. They're 11.5-point dogs. We talked about it. Quinshon Judkins. If he plays, it'll be a package. All that said, Club Said is always open. Club Said's always open. The answer is always Club Said. Last 5 full games that he has played, dating back to last season, he's averaging 18.1 fantasy points per game. Just to give you a comparison, last year on a points per game basis, CeeDee Lamb averaged 17.6. 4 of the last 5 games, Cedric Tillman has outscored Jerry Jeudy. He's had at least one end zone target in every one of those 5 games. The answer is Club Said. It's always open. See it right there. My wide receiver 38, but number 1 in my heart.
Top 40 wide receiver for you this week. You know I'm on board.
Oh, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Is there a world where he simply outproduces Jeudy this year?
I think he's favorite to do so at this point.
But if you said that to somebody, I feel like in July they'd be like, "What the hell, is Cedric Tillman?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that even after 1 week, sometimes you just got to rapidly adjust your priors. Ken Walker was going like 50 spots ahead of Zach Charbonnet before, in draft. I'd rather have Zach Charbonnet going forward than Cam Walker because 1 week can be very instructive. And also, it's not just 1 week with Cedric Tillman. Like back end of last year as well. This is where it began, and so seems to have that rapport with Joe Flacco that's established. They're going to throw it a ton. Yeah, Cedric Tillman to the moon.
Meanwhile, by the way, I mean, Jerry Jeudy throughout his career has never been a big touchdown guy. He's never been a big end zone threat, and obviously Tillman is. I mean, they do have Njoku, and Fannin is coming on, and they're going to want to run a lot when they get in close. But still, Tillman is somebody that is going to score touchdowns this year.
Jerry Jeudy's gotten a lot of mileage out of one Monday Night Football game against the Broncos, just torching non-Patrick Surtain corners all night long. Take that game out, and this doesn't feel nearly as strange.
Correct. Our next question from Brian R. 146. Hey all, would you go Egbuka, Jeudy, or Javonte at flex with full PPR? Good problem to have.
Yeah, really nice problem to have. We already talked about Jeudy here. I'm going to go with Emeka Egbuka. Had a 20% target share in week number 1, 94% route participation, and more importantly, half of those targets, I should say, came on deep passes. Like they were not scared to chuck it deep with Emeka Egbuka. By the way, played a lot in the slot. Texans allowed the 6th most receiving yards to the slot in week 1. All systems go to me. Javonte Williams, I'm just worried about the efficiency. If he doesn't get into the end zone, does he get that kind of volume? Giants actually have a pretty good defensive line as well. So, I give me Emeka Egbuka in this one.
How could you sit him after what we saw?
Absolutely, and they're going to need to throw, I think, against the Texans, where I think that just defensive line is going to swallow up the Bucs' run game. A little surprised that the Texans are 2.5-point favorites in that one. That implies that they are a superior team to Tampa Bay on neutral, which
I'm not convinced on that.
I entirely agree with that. I think with Javonte, though, Connor, what's the scope that the Giants are just like a Miami Dolphins type of mess and that the Cowboys just completely light them up?
Very possible. I have more on the Giants for the end of the show today, but right now, the problem with the Giants is the offense is giving you nothing, and the defense is going to be worn out eventually.
Yeah, at some point.
And it's weird. They have so much talent up front, but this is now, and it's 1 week, but the second year now where the run defense doesn't look good.
Yeah.
Again, where you sit there and go, is there something schematically here, or players just not playing, up to what we expect with them? So I think when you look at it, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a big concern here. And Javonte Williams, I mean, way Dallas the run blocking with them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be pretty with Javonte Williams. He's not going to get the 60-yard run that everyone's jumping up and down and loving it. But if he just consistently grinds out weeks and scores a touchdown consistently, it feels like he's going to be extremely viable.
Yes, completely agree.
How about one from the chat here? Julio, thank you are. Does Harold Fannin warrant a possible start or need another week of meaningful reps? Keep in mind, Matthew, I mean, some tight ends already down. George Kittle down. Mark Andrews was a dud. Some people might be scrambling.
Bowers is banged up.
Right, yeah.
He's questionable. Yeah, I mean, ideally you'd want to see one more week, but it depends on what your options are, right? I mean, like, so I had a friend text me last night and said Tucker Kraft or Harold Finn, and I said, I want to see it one more week with Finn and start Tucker Kraft. So that one ended up working out. But it's worth noting, no team in the NFL gave up more passing yards last week than the Baltimore Ravens. It was that crazy game against the Bills, but still, the Bills were very successful tight end-wise. Kincaid got into the end zone. Was it Jackson Dawes? He got into the end zone as well. Like, so the tight end was actually pretty effective against the Ravens. So Fannin, who looked the part, and they clearly made an effort to get him the ball. Flacco clearly has a connection with him already. I could easily see it, especially in a game in which they're almost 2-touchdown underdogs here. So it sort of depends on who else you have. But, yes, I do think Fannin is a viable starter this week for sure.
Yeah, also,
he's my tight end 15, as you see there. Like, I'm in as a tight end, too, but with some upside.
The Browns won this game last year as well. They won 3 games all season. One of them was beating Baltimore at home. They had some success against the Ravens. Kyle Hamilton dropped a terrible interception that may have cost me some money, so I still remember it vividly. The other thing is with Harold Fannin is that, like, he's a second tight end, and he played 72% of the snaps.
Right. Because he's not really a tight end.
Yeah.
That's the trick of it.
Yes.
He's not a tight end.
Yep. He's our slot receiver.
Right. View him as a big slot receiver that also appears in the backfield at times.
Yeah.
Or off the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he's a weapon. Our last one here, guys, from Tyler Hammond. Allen over Tyrone, Tracy, or Coleman in flex 12-man PPR?
Tyler, I think it's a good question to have. It's a good option to have because we like Keon Coleman. We like Keenan Allen. We like all the Ks. But I'm actually going with Tyrone Tracy here. I just think on the road they're going to want to run against Dallas. Cowboys 28th in rush defense in week number 1. They give up 158 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns to Philadelphia. Now, I get it. That's Saquon Barkley and the Eagles' offensive line versus Tyrone Tracy and the Giants' offensive line. But still, Tracy saw 63% of the Giants' running back touches in week 1. He also had a 15% target share, which was 3rd on the team. He's playing basically all 3 downs. They're going to use him in the passing game. They're going to use him. It feels like they're still trying to get Cam Scatterboo up to speed here as well. The two of them, Scatterboo and Singletary, had a combined 7 touches against the Commanders. And so I do think the workload of Tyrone Tracy, his ability to be used in a passing game, we expect this to be one of the higher scoring games of the week 2 slate. It's 44.5. I would take the over there again because I think there's no way that the Giants offense can look any worse than it did last week. And I think the Dallas offense is very good, and they're going to force the Giants to kind of throw and be in positive game script.
Yep, I agree with you. I think that Keenan Allen, though, I would try to trade for Keenan Allen because I think people are writing off that. It's like, oh, 1 game for Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen's a real thing. I think he's going to be a top 25-30 receiver this year. 29% target share in week 1, 76% route participation. And I agree with you, especially if we're talking about, like, the Chargers aren't going to be the old run-heavy team we've seen before. They're going to be a little bit more pass-happy. Justin Herbert looks 100% healthy. So I think Keenan Allen is clearly the number 2 guy in that pass attack. I thought just physically the 2 guys who really leapt off the screen is looking different in week 1. Dak Prescott, who just looked slim, and Keenan Allen just looked slimmer.
Yes. Question here from Mark Hunter. Club Said or Tyrone Tracy in a flex? Matthew is kind of blending our first and last question.
I'm still going with Club Said here.
Cowboys run it might be an anomaly, but I don't think it is. Cowboys run defense looked a lot better in just 1 week against the Eagles. But Tracy catches passes. That's
the point of Tracy. Yes. That's the argument for Tracy. I think they're down. I think they're throwing. Tracy is their pass catcher. Here's sounds like we got one more. Robert N. Travis Hunter or Calvin Ridley in the flex spot, or do we get crazy and go Nick Chubb instead? Asking questions about Chubb. This sounds like one for Dr. Carter. I would stay tuned to Rotoworld, see if he has a different opinion. But I think for me, I'm going Travis Hunter here.
Me too. I just think stay patient with Travis Hunter. He was a big part of the early game plan before the weird delay, and there's just more upside with him.
By the way, they're also playing Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, the Jags are playing Cincinnati. All right, Drew McClary has this one. Question for my Tyler Warren ball knower, Connor Rogers.
The Conler.
Conler. Oh, the Conler.
The Conler.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that,
nice, Drew.
Well done. Well played. All right, Conler. Drew wants to know, should I sell high on ETN and trade him and Warren for Bucky Irving? I have Kyler Murray and McBride stacked in full PPR. So he's going all Cardinals. He's got Kyler and McBride. Should he trade Travis Etienne and Tyler Warren for Bucky Irving?
Yes. If you have Trey McBride, yes. That's an amazing deal for you. You were smart and got Tyler Warren, clearly when nobody in your league valued him at the right spot.
Yep.
And I'm not that high on Etienne the rest of the season because he gets hurt every year.
Yeah, he does. I mean, Bucky Irving's an RB1. right? And so is the difference between Travis Etienne and Bucky Irving Tyler Warren? Yeah, probably. I don't think it's a rip-off trade.
Right.
I think it's a fair trade, to be perfectly honest.
Might be some keeper. If there's keeper rules, Warren might be a value next year.
But the argument in terms of your roster construction, unless you're playing Warren in the flex, we don't know what your flex options are, but you're starting McBride at tight end every week. So if you can turn a bench player and ETN into Bucky Irving, you do it.
That'll do it for What's on Tap, presented by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. We're taking our last break. When we're back, we have our best picks to impress Matthew. Right after this, it's Pickup Lines. DraftKings Sportsbook is an official sports betting partner of the NFL, and new customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly, and $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube TV. Just download the Sportsbook app and use promo code FFHH when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook.
Oh, the crown is yours!
The crown is yours. It's time for Pickup Lines.
Yeah.
Matthew.
The crown is yours, but who will be mine?
Yeah, well, Matthew, you wanted nothing to do with me last week, and you got what you deserved.
Yeah.
So we'll see if this changes. Jay, what do you got for Matthew this week?
Yeah, you cashed last week. Good job, Connor.
Yes.
Conler.
The Conler was due for one.
Okay, Matthew, here's what I got for you this week.
Yes, sir.
So Hollywood Brown, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Hope you're home with Connor today. Marquise Hollywood Brown.
Nailing this one in.
Yeah. In Brazil, Hollywood Brown had 16 targets from Patrick Mahomes.
Yes, sir.
I believe that will translate to the United States of America on Sunday against the Philadelphia Eagles. His longest reception is set at 23.5 yards. Who else is Patrick Mahomes going to throw to? Xavier Worthy's a big question mark. Yeah. Mahomes, for the sins of the Chiefs, they were able to generate explosives down the field. I don't know if anyone watched Adoree Jackson on Thursday night against Dallas. CeeDee Lamb got open down the field about 50 times. Just couldn't catch any of the passes. I think Patrick Mahomes, if there's 9 targets for Hollywood Brown, I believe one of them is going for at least 24 yards, and that's all you need for this bet to hit.
All right, I like that.
I do like that one a lot. I'm a little nervous. I might get, thrown aside again. Matthew, I got one for you. I know you said you like the scoring rate of Dallas Giants, but I don't like the Giants' part in that. Their team total is 20.5 points. Okay. Russell Wilson, in his last 6 games, this is what his offense has done. 6 points last week, 14, 17, 10, 17, 13. He hasn't done this in his last 6 starts. And the Giants look horrendous without Andrew Thomas. Andrew Thomas is not playing this week. I don't think the Giants can get to 21 points in this game. I'm going to take the under.
One of those games is against the Bengals as well.
Yeah.
It's uglier the more you dive into it, but we'll keep it surface level for the sake of this. I think Dallas does score a lot in that game.
I do doubt. Yeah, Dallas.
21 points for this version of the Giants is a lot of points right now.
It is, but like, do you see Jackson Dart in the second half or something like? Do they put Jameis
That's
in
the
there?
risk.
That's the risk.
Man, that's a quick hook on Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
6 quarters.
And they're trying to win a effing ball game here. Listen, by the way, Jay desperately wants me to choose you.
I know. I don't want you to pick me.
So I'm gonna go home with
Yes.
Jay. Come on, Big Daddy. Come on, Leather Daddy.
Oh, no.
I'm all yours. Let's go. But keep your phone on. I might text on the way home.
Nope, it's off.
Yeah, let's see. Hey, listen, Fantasy Football pregame is Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. Check that out on Peacock and YouTube right here. Check out my 10 things you need to know column on rotoworld.com. It's closing time. You don't have to go home. You can't stay here. For Jay and Connor, I'm Matthew. We'll see you on Sunday morning. Peace out.